Today we are kit building our very own ukulele. Now we're going to try and model it on Hokusai's Great Wave. I'm no artist, but let's get into it and see what happens. Okay, here we are, and today we are going to try and assemble the body and the neck. I just want to show you a close-up first of all of the two parts that we've got so far. The varnish has dried, and I'm actually really pleased with that. I mean, I'm no artist and there's many flaws with it, but actually by the standards I was expecting, I'm really delighted. Got a lovely, got a good wave shape there going over the sound hole in the middle. Mount Fuji there, lots of froth. The froth really makes it the difference. It was really awful before I added the froth. Froth carries on slightly over the side. Got some nice simple edging around the bottom of the ukulele, quite like that. I was thinking if I had designed this again, if I did it again, if I could get that blue line to carry on all the way around, I think that would have been really nice. That dark blue line just all the way around the whole instrument I think would be a nice touch, but I didn't really want to go back and try and fiddle with that. I thought I'd only end up spoiling it. You can always, if you do more than one of these, you can always come up with ideas to improve it, but actually it's a sort of impromptu design that very much came together as we went. I'm really, really delighted with that. And then on the neck, some of the colouring of the neck's a little bit suspect. Some of my brushwork is really suspect, and the varnish has gone on a bit clumpy in places as well. So it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I quite like what I've done with the head there. That's a bit of a sort of impromptu wave on the neck, on the head there as well. I'm quite happy with that. Again, the white froth really made the difference there and added to that. So I'm happy with that. So what we're going to go for today is sticking it together and hopefully I'll get that in shot. Hopefully end up with a nice, almost finished looking ukulele. So what we are doing today is there's a small piece of doweling that's going to go in there and hold that together. And we'll super glue that in place as well, because it's important that's tight. We'll also put some glue on the two surfaces there to make sure that's really, that's got to be a strong joint. So there's a lot of pressure on there. And then the fingerboard will go on the front. The fingerboard will go on the front like that, so straight away you can see it starting to look the part. Now the other thing we want to do, we've got the nut up here to go on the top there, and then the bridge and the saddle down here. I've got those two holes that we enlarged with the bradawl earlier on in the process. So I'm going to try and do all of that now, and then later what we'll have to do is the 4 tuning pegs, but they can go on last. I want to do all that because I won't have to stick those. I'll just screw in, so I can do those later and put the strings on at the same time. I want to do all the gluing now in one go. So I've got some super glue, and I've got a hammer. Just in case, I'm hoping that's not necessary. Just in case all goes wrong. No, of course not. Just in case I need to tap that dowel in, might just need to tap it in slightly, but I suspect I won't, because it's not come with any hammer or any suggestion that you need the hammer. But sometimes the dowel pegs can get a bit like an IKEA flat pack, isn't it? Sometimes the dowel pegs don't go in quite as smoothly as you want them to. Of course, I've got the little screwdriver from that came with the kit as well. What I like about this kit is it shows you how easy it is to make repairs to a ukulele. I mean, I've done them repairs to the school ones over the last few years, and you can buy tuning pegs. You can buy obviously the strings, all these things online quite easy, and you can buy the screws you need as well. So if you find on your ukulele a screws come out the back of the neck there, the head, and some of the tuning pegs have come loose, you can quite easily replace those, unstring your ukulele. These are not difficult jobs, and actually when you put a kit together like this, it reminds you how easy it is to put all these things together. So let's have a look at what we've got, because my one concern is the strength of the bridge, because the bridge is going to take an awful lot of pressure because the strings are going to come down the neck. Obviously at the top they're going to be screwed onto the tuning pegs, so they're going to be nice and secure there, but where you get a lot of pressure is here on the bridge. And I had a cheap ukulele once where that just came unstuck, and clearly the whole thing was just stuck down. Suddenly the whole thing wrenched up and tore off the body of the instrument, and it just been glued down. But I can see straight away there's 2 holes in the middle there that obviously go into our screw holes, so I'm hoping they're going to be decent screws. And actually, if I have a look through the pile of screws I've got here, there are 2 longer screws So I've got two quite nice long screws. Can I hold them up there? There we go. So they are going to be going into there. In fact, we can do that first of all, and that's quite a decent screw length. Can you see that on the camera? I hope you can. Quite a decent screw length to hold that firmly in place. So I don't think I'm going to need to add any glue there. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is put that in place. So let's do that straight away now. Just doing it very slowly because I'm conscious of the fact normally if you're screwing into something you would want to have something supporting the piece of wood you're screwing into, so you put your hand behind it or you'd make sure it's pushing up against something, but because of the piece, there is an extra piece of wood there I checked earlier, but I can't get my finger to it, so it's sort of just stuck inside the top there, so I can't really support it, so I'm just going very slowly so that I don't prise that, because if I'm not careful I'll prise that away from the lid as I screw in, and that would do a lot of damage. So in fact that's not going in very easily. I'm going to do the first one about halfway, then I'm going to do the second one. Make sure they're lined up properly. So the paint's probably not helping. In fact, it might be an idea if I get the bradawl again, just enlarge that hole slightly. Here we go, got the trusty bradawl, very useful tool to have in your toolkit always, just for enlarging holes. There's quite a lot of paint gone on there, so just making that hole a little bit broader so I can screw it in more easily. Again, I've got to be careful because I can't, ideally I'd have my hand underneath supporting the wood that I'm pushing down into. It's not entirely satisfactory doing it like that. Whoops, I'm stuck to the plastic, that's not good. Right, we just had a bit of a near disaster there because the bit of plastic I've been working on all this time, I think still got bits of varnish on it that it's not entirely dry, so I'm just going to take everything off that and go onto the tablecloth underneath, because if I'm not careful I'm going to spoil all the work I've done. Let's try all of that again. So we've put the we've done the bradawl, and we've got the screw, one screw there, and the other screw I did have until I just swept everything off. There it is. Right, we're good to go. We're going to try that again. I might well go and get my other screwdriver because I've got some model screwdrivers for ukulele repairs in my ukulele kit, which might be a better screwdriver, but you'd have thought the screwdriver that would come with it would work. It was certainly going to be the right size, so we'll just that's just not wanting to go in. Okay, we are getting there. Arguably we're making quite hard work of this. Got my trusty model screwdrivers here. The great thing about these is they've got rotating heads on the end, so as you push down and turn, you don't have to completely turn your hand around. Let me see. Possibly the bigger one. Got these on Amazon for about £3 each. They're really, really good, worth looking up and getting some. Look, so that's really easy to keep it turning, and that's what the rotating head does. That's much easier. Unlike a normal screwdriver, where you have to keep turning your hand back to get the grip. This allows you just to rotate it easily in your hand. Now the lid is flexing. I need to be careful. The lid is flexing while I do this, so again I'm going very slowly. Oh, I've stuck to the tablecloth again. The varnish has had 24 hours to dry. It's just a bit sticky. Right, just making sure that's lined up okay. Got to be careful not to crack the wood, but I've got to make sure this is really secure because a lot of pressure is going to go onto this bridge. Right, so you can see we've got the bridge on there now, and the bridge also needs the saddle. Don't think there's a top or the bottom, not the saddle. 1 minute, that's not the saddle, there's the saddle. Now then, there's a flat bottom. There we go, so that goes in there. And the string's going to come over the top of that. Let me hold it up to the camera. And then you can see there's 4 holes there, so I'll have to feed the string through there, and then there's a hole comes out the bottom. You can see there at the bottom as well. So they're going to feed through, and the knot hopefully will sit just inside that bit of plastic there. So what I'll probably do is put a knot on the end of the string, then feed the other end through from the bottom out the top, and pull it so that the knot is nice and snug inside there. And hopefully, sounds easy, doesn't it? Hopefully that will work quite easily. Right, so that's tempted just to put a touch of super glue in the middle of this, just because it is important it's held in place. It doesn't want to be loose, and that way. Right, if I suddenly, I'm going to get that bit of plastic back, because if I suddenly, right, I don't want to stick my fingers together. I am a little bit notorious with the super glue. Right, why have I taken the whole cap off? So I'm just going to put it in there, just a touch. Right, that was a touch, but just a little bit more. There we go. Careful, don't want to make a mess. Oh, it's everywhere. Careful. No. Get that over here onto the plastic. That's just a little bit in the middle. Be so careful with super glue, don't you? And just make sure that's central. Good. We're going to leave that. Now, what we're going to do now, because I think I can work on the top without affecting that drying. We're going to put the dowel in there and super glue the 2 bits together. So we've got the dowel. Don't think the dowel's going to need any glue on it, because the dowel will just give it support inside, but actually it'll be the glue on the body here that will hold the neck in place. Like I said, I did bring the hammer. Oh no, I thought I was going to need it then. That's gone in really easily. That's fine. Job done. Right, is that going to go in as well? Yes, it is. In fact, no, you can see that's not entirely satisfactory, is it? That's pushed itself. You see, the dowel is quite essential, really, because the dowel will provide support within the neck that will really, hopefully... Yeah, that's not going to happen. No, that's just going to... It's a soft wood dowel, and that's just going to scrape it away. The problem is, the dowel is quite essential, because it should be in the middle there, and it'll provide a lot of upright support. So that is a concern, that the neck's not going to be as supported as it should be, because there's quite a decent hole there for the dowel to go into, but there's only about 3mm showing, so it's gone right down straight away, and it got pushed down as I put the neck on. Maybe I should have pushed it into the neck, but then it could have gone up into the neck and it would have been the same. So plan B, well, it's plan A, to be honest with you, it was always going to happen, is copious amounts of super glue. So I've got to be very careful at this stage. Comes out in bubbles and it sort of just goes everywhere. But this is important, because if this joint is not really strong, we are in trouble. Right, I think we are good, I hope. Okay. See at the back, there are some markings where it's supposed to line up, but actually if you line it up at the front, the markings at the back don't quite line up. So that's sort of as good as it's going to get, I think. There's a lot of super glue in there, so I'm confident that's going to stick well. Now, what I want to do, while I've got all my glues out and while I'm generally making a mess, is put the fingerboard on, and possibly the nut at the top of the fingerboard as well, because that will just actually, the whole thing will just glue together then. I just hope that's going to stick. You see, look, fingerboard's not entirely, that's having to flex slightly to stick to the top and the bottom together. It's not perfect, but I'm going to put quite a bit of glue. Oh gosh, that came pouring out. Whoops, doesn't matter. Right, there we go. It's slightly on the wave, doesn't matter, no, it's not a problem. And then plenty all the way down the neck. This one's very liquidy, but it needs to be a lot because it's got to stick to that plastic, and it will stick the plastic on well, but possibly not quite so well as the wood. And the plastic back has got an annoying and rather funny ridge effect, like the sole of a shoe. Not quite sure why. I'm not quite sure that's going to help. Right. Oh, that's really run down. Let's blow that back. Very technical, this. Blowing the glue back where I want it. Right, I've got to line it up really carefully. I'm only going to get one shot at this. Literally only getting one shot at that setting really quickly. And the problem is the glue's coming out the side, so if I'm not careful I stick my fingers on it. Oh, that's not lining up. Ow, oops, gosh. Nearly stuck my finger then. We're on. I think that's as good as it's going to get. Right, I need to hold this. Right, give me 10 minutes because I've got to hold it. It's not quite perfect. To be honest, it's not quite perfectly shaped. Again, like I said, if my friend Matthew has made this, I'm thoroughly impressed. If he has bought it, it's not the best one in the world. That glue's running. Gosh. If I blow it that way, just look like an extra layer of varnish. Whilst I'm getting myself covered in glue, I might as well put the nut on, because otherwise that's another glue job later. And I'd rather just have all the gluing now, then I can leave it for a few hours and come back and do the strings. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the top there, because the nut doesn't really have a lot of pressure on it. And that should stick down. That will be held in place by the strings anyway. Oh, that doesn't quite. It's not quite wide enough. It should be a little bit. So I'll make sure that's central. Yeah, that's about 2 millimeters too narrow. It's a shame. So that goes there. Like I said, Matthew, if you've done the plastic work and everything with your moulds and that at work, then I'm very impressed. If you bought this, then it's great. But if you have bought it, I'm just being honest with the viewers that it's not the best quality instrument that we're going to ever have. So we're going to be realistic. And I think when you buy a kit, you've got to think about the sound quality you're going to get from it. And I'm sure there are different kits out there that possibly do match really nicely, and you can certainly consider that when you buy a kit. But if, like this one, it's just a really nice novelty present, and you know we've had a lot of fun painting it and putting it together, then you can certainly get a lot of value from it. I mean, this is just looking so much better than I ever imagined. I'm really pleased with it, but I am questioning the quality of the pieces as they go together. There we go. Coming together. Oh, sorry, I can't coordinate my hand with the camera. There we go. Coming together really nicely. So isn't that looking amazing? I'm really happy with that. So we've got the bridge there, and the saddle, and the fingerboard, and the nut all on. And then what I'll do in the final video is I can put the tuning keys on at the top, because I'll just screw in, and then we can string it and tune it, and then we'll see if we can get a song out of it. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.